You got the meme. So past that, it's going to be Villa versus, Astralis versus XSET as we jump into it for the very first time. Hopefully you guys are back from your bathroom breaks as we've gotten rid of Habana and Flores for the offense.
Kino says the fun is limited in this game, so I'll have to see what that means. But not too much fun, guys. As we get into the first defender ban here, though, Astralis has their final overall pick, and they're in, ooh, wow, that's a curvy one.
That is a no fun ban.
Fun's really going to be limited here as Smoke is knocked out. Forest agrees.
Good luck. If you guys don't know the meme, basically Kino just mostly plays Smoke on defense. So it's like, have fun with that. You're not allowed to deny things anymore. So Wamai's going to round up the rear end of this pack, but this is going to leave quite a bit open, not only for the defense, but also for the offense. We have access to quite a few breaches, still some, some longer range breaches there as well with the ace still available. So we'll see how Astralis wants to try and use that on their offense, but we're really looking to see them more than likely like double up, whether it be secondary hard breach or what have you. Otherwise, DP Fire is going to have to play this pretty slow. If they end up losing him early on without, making any headway in the hard breach department, it could be pretty problematic going later on in the round. So we'll see if they try and fix that up. But obviously, the one thing that everyone probably wants us to talk about right now at home, John, has got to be Azami making it through the ban phase.
Yep, Azami actually making it through the ban phase for us too, the first time in quite a few days. Yeah. She's been pretty much knocked out for us, at least since week 2 have started its play. So it's been a while since we've seen her allowed into the mix, and quite obviously she's going to be immediately used by the members of XSET, in this case Yaga. We're picking her up, so we'll see how exactly she's going to be able to slow things down for Astralis' clear, as you're going to see already bolstering the main stairs position, and we'll probably be able to play around that, as well as a few other positions being set up near the bookcase wrap as well to try and delay out the initial clear from Astralis for as long as possible. This all, of course, depends on Astralis executing through studies. We'll have to wait and see if they want to try to go for a north take instead.
Yes, indeed. And really liking the adaptation here from the defense, bringing in the Chanka for Kino instead of the Smoke that got banned away from Astralis. So they'll still have Denial, but it won't be able to plume and actually get in the way of the visuals of Astralis. Their palm will not be hindered in the slightest. They'll be able to look right over the top of those flames, but obviously will not be able to pass through them unless they want to give up part of their live or the whole thing, depending on their HP bar. The Astralis has taken their time inside of this opening minute. They've set themselves up around the master area. They're droning it out at the current moment. Also, they have Forest along for the ride on the Dokkaebi, so this should be a fairly straightforward affair. J90 missing a huge opportunity onto Spirits, and oh my god, Forest is already in. No DMR either. The secondary pistol to take down Gomez.
So a huge lack of respect for XS potential extended presence out here into the 90 hallway. Astralis are quite literally just going to swing into it, either from the repelled window at 90 or through the trophy connector, to be able to take map control and funnel out Gomez's position there. Like we said before, an opportunity was lost when they were actually on the repel to take him down. Didn't end up working out there, but now they're going to redeem themselves by picking up the kill and establishing that backhaul control.
Love the deployable shield move here from XSET. This is something we used to see really often when Goyo still had his deployable shields, moving them around to make sure that the offense has to deal with that piece of utility instead of circumventing it by just really not playing around the main stairs. All you need for a take like this is what J90 is doing exactly right now. Play study, don't die. If he dies right here, this is a huge part of the puzzle that Astralis is going to be lacking, but fortunately enough, they're ahead in the man count, so they can still risk it for the biscuit at the end of the day. Forrest's going to take a little bit more heat, but Astralis has slowed down quite a lot since their initial pick. This has made it to where XSET has to hold on to quite a bit, and speaking of which, Yaga taking a lot of heat in that situation for the study window. Iconic is now adjusted over for the balcony, and he can try and assist with this as Spirits goes swinging inside of Plains. He's able to find one onto Shuttle, no refrag just yet. As Forrest looks for one, Spirits will pick it up, and it's finally Iconic to take down 2, make J90 3, as it's all left up to Kino. 40 seconds remain. He still has the launcher here, so be able to apply fire to this situation, but more than likely going to swing right into Iconic with the triple kill on top of the maps table. A beautiful round from Astralis. A very weird opener, I would say, with what we saw around Red Stairs, as Force simply makes a phone call, no one can hear, and he sprints onto Red Stairs with a CZ.
All works out well for Astralis, though, as it gives them uncontested map control, splits apart any potential extended game over towards Trophy that XSET might have tried to play into. Obviously didn't see much of that being deployed, but that was the intention from Astralis. And on top of that as well, it gives them a staging ground that they can immediately springboard into and execute less than halfway into into the round. So just really good use of the time and good follow through from Astralis on making sure everything went their way, even though things got a little bit dodgy in the actual site take. That'll move XSET's site choice immediately downstairs. Not really feeling the trophy game, probably especially with the Azami in play right now. It's going to be a little bit too difficult to work themselves into, so instead they're going to head downstairs here into the kitchen where they'll hopefully have better results being able to utilize her.
Absolutely, my friend. I really like what XSET's doing with this site setup right now. Obviously, AVG didn't work out for them, so they're going to head over to kitchen, and they've brought some traps, and this is all because they don't have access. Oh, well, actually, no, I take it back. That was the last game. They do actually have access to be able to deny the single wall. Now, the big thing is that they have Thatcher in play here for Forest, so obviously if XSET set up anything like an Electro Claw or a Bandit Battery or a Mute Jammer, it literally does not matter. The EMP will get rid of it directly through the wall, and they'll have immediate access to pantry. So what do they do instead? Well, they lean into traps and information as well as something to kind of disrupt the overall setup, like an Azami, where you can make your own angles and your own safe harbors and try and make it a little bit easier for some of your anchors to play around, or maybe hold down the top floor. We'll just have to see how XSET wants to set that up, but overall, it's definitely a way to get in front of Astralis without having to lean on to those reinforcements and making sure that Astralis doesn't breach them. It makes it to where the traps can be played off of, and XSET can potentially get a kill because of it.
Attackers have located the bomb.
Forest with an excellent opportunity placed directly in front of him, and he's going to excel in taking it. Kino falls down. That eliminates the Ella. A second kill potentially viable for him there too, but missed the opportunity on the cross. I believe it was going to end up being Diaz there. He's able to get himself past it though, avoid sudden death, and at least keep the disadvantage down to only one player in deficit compared to Astralis.
Yes, indeed. Now Astralis very far ahead at the current moment. Not even halfway through the round yet, so they're going to be able to take their time. They need to break down this top floor setup and see what XSET want to do with it. Gomez, the new IGL of the stage, currently inside of benches. Doesn't have anyone across from him at the time. And in fact, Jane, I know, going to be adjusting over towards Master Balcony. DP Fire now taking control of the Master area. More or less, oh, that grenade not cooked properly. Spirits will be able to get
There's no way that just happened. Someone swung in on the rappel directly on top of that uncooked nade and killed Forest as a result of it.
Wow, that was something for sure. Spirits is going to be able to get even more now. Kino obviously down, but I mean, what's that matter? There's a minute that remains, and XSET is ahead, and by quite a large margin at the current moment, especially after Yaga takes down Iconic.
Their Chaos Nade going to find its way at the bottom of the Astro stairs, but ultimately won't matter as XSET is allowed to take out the remnants of the assaulting force. There obviously things were a little bit shattered to begin with, given the way that that grenade play ended up following through. A team just never really able to recover after that point, so XSET had a pretty easy time shutting things down here to tie us up at 1-1.
Knowing the vibes of Astralis, Forrest immediately started laughing as soon as he died.
I mean, I did.
I had no words to say. The moment spoke for itself right there, for sure.
All right, so let's get into round 3, see if we can get Astralis to clean things up a little bit as it goes a bit chaotic for the better half of that last round there. Thankfully not going to have as much work to do this time, as they do have the benefit of attacking the upstairs site. They're going to have a little bit less to worry about.
Monka?
Yeah, as we just saw Stokes pointing out there while he was mid-drink, Yaga is on the dock, which is not an operator we tend to get that often anymore on the defensive side.
Yeah, it might be a term that we use now because there's this little birdie. I don't know if you've heard of her. Her name's...
Wait.
What?
It's shotgun dock, I'm pretty sure.
Get the hell out of here.
I'm 99% sure I just saw a shotgun
right
on Yaga.
now. You need, John.
I'm not messing with you.
John, you gotta shut up right now.
I'm either seeing things or it's definitely shotgun dock.
It's too early for this.
And he's got the pistol out.
Stop it.
Switch. I want to see it.
Dog.
Oh, he does. He does.
So,
what is the meta today?
The meta is amazing. That's what it is, Blue. The meta is whatever you make it. So let's make it rock, right? So here's the thing. If you guys don't know about the French shotgun in Rainbow Six, this shotgun just so happens to be, I do believe, the most damaging shotgun in the entire game, even more so than the M590, if I'm not wrong. So this could be pretty crazy, but they already know. So that's the thing about doing stuff like this. The offense has drones, and the good
good news for Yog, though, is Yog is now taking out that drone and probably made a fairly safe assumption like, well, they're not pushing main stairs. So
that's true.
He's tucked his tail between his legs and run right back upstairs. So he knows he doesn't have a whole lot to worry about there. He'll have pretty much immediate respect for about a 30-second period, and he's going to use that to fall back to the inside of the billiards room.
Yeah, Shotgun's nickname is crowd control. Nobody's moving forward. Everybody stay back here. Gonna hold down bookshelf unless you want your life ended, J9. Oh, Yaga. Yaga, please step up. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. Keep it going. There we go. 2 big kills out of the French shotty. Make it 3. Oh, my Yaga. Show him how much damage can be done by the defensive end with that shotty. XSET doesn't even bat an eye after it's a full bloodbath on main stairs.
It's a flawless round from XSET, supported by the Doc Shotgun, picking up a 3K in the middle of that round. Beautiful work from XSET here, and making mincemeat once again.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Did you see that range on the IQ?
It was like
Disgusting.
halfway across the room, and it one-pumped him to take him down. I'm surprised this one didn't get him as well. Maybe the accuracy just a tad off, but either way, excellently played by XSET. They are going to have to pocket it now, as unfortunately, it's pretty much a one-and-done play.
Forrest, is the gloves off here? What's happening, friends? We got the Ash in play? Like, I'm telling you, the meta's out the window. Like,
It's turned into a scrim real quick.
Yo, next up is LMGs. Can we just gents rule LMGs? Can we just go all back to ARs and just suffer through the pain for a little while until next patch? I'd totally be down with that.
The problem is when a team's losing 5-6, they probably immediately bring out the finger.
Oh, it was a misclick. I'm so sorry. Totally didn't mean to bring this thing that hit somebody for 48 damage every time I breathe on them.
Won't stay gentlemanly for very long, I would imagine. Forrest, what are you doing?
He's doing a lot right now. He's doing a lot right now. He's doing the most, one would say. Shuttle is going to be ending up on the Thatcher, while J9 over on the Yana, and Forrest will finally rest his head on the Dokkaebi. So we'll see how this works out. Obviously, the very first round was set up very like this. We had Forrest on the Doke, nice little initial drone clear that quickly became a Doke clear with actually Dokkaebi herself pushing in and securing the first frag for Astralis.
Astralis. So far, this is the only site that they have found success in attacking so far. Things have fallen apart in their next 2 attempts afterwards, so we're going to see if a return to it for XSET is potentially going to yield some more results for our attackers to even out the scoreline once again at what would be 2-2 here. XSET, in the meanwhile, though, as you can see for Spirits, they're taking some closer contention against players like DP Fire, who are trying to get that northern route access. You're going to notice here Astralis keeping the options open, but unfortunately, one of them is going to be slammed shut right into the face of Forrest here as Yaga is able to best him in the first 1v1 of the round, and Spirits, just a pixel being found out there, but it's enough to isolate DP Fire and take him down.
Astralis not thinking that XSET will be managing the angles as that wall breaks down, and they are so sorely mistaken. Spirits, that'll be the 3rd kill for XSET on the round, and yet again, Astralis, they can't buy a frag at the current moment, John. Not a single kill through the last 2 rounds just yet. Iconic and J9 can try and fix this. J9 flirts with death at the top of main stairs. Back and forth they go. So worried about main as well as... Oh my Spirits!
Where did he
just hopped out the window. He sprinted all the way over from Master. And he said, oh, you want some action? Well, I got something for you, my friend. It's 2 quick kills. Spirits now down. It was a triple for him on the round, and he'll be able to stay alive. They initially tried to take control of the Master side, though, and just, trophy statuary, that kind of thing. In general, with Doke coming underneath and Forrest trying to work his way up, I almost said Astralis stairs, but Astronomy stairs. But obviously it didn't work out. Yaga was good for it, and more than likely, unless the call just went off at an inopportune time and somebody ended up seeing him, that was all just off of game sense. So very well done from XSET there, as they're currently up 2 rounds.
I thought someone left a default up outside, but more than likely.
You never know, right?
Didn't see that happen, and as we probably would have had that get called out in the chat if something like that had happened. So Astralis, like I said before, looking to recenter themselves, looking to find much better footing after they had success in the first round, but have obviously dropped off the map in its entirety since then. It's going to be on a downstairs hold from XSET back into the kitchen as they continue to rotate around the sites they've now already won for themselves. They'll attempt to find that second round here. Not too many surprises when it comes to the operator lineup on the attacking side, either bringing pretty much the same thing that we've seen previously, even including that IQ on Iconic, which has popped up at least once before already.
And XSET's going to continue to lean into the trap game on the kitchen site. And this is what we saw from them the last time. If you remember, Astralis ended up getting pantry pretty quick, but XSET able to deliver back. Astralis able to at least get the initial pick there before things started going awry. So now we'll have to see if Astralis wants to go about it in a similar fashion. They have Iconic on the IQ, so they'll be able to find goo mines and everything of the sort. And they also have the EMPs to be able to break open this wall unimpeded with those Soma charges of DP fire. Forrest, though, he's starting to take some heat and not something that you really want from your Thatcher players so early on, so he's going to try and maintain his life. But this is already almost the first minute gone for AST, and they really need to get this going as they try and find some more crossfires around this top floor to support the push.
So the only change we've noted so far from the pause is just the fact that Astralis is giving over so much additional respect at the moment here. Case is going to be down out on the balcony, not inside of the building, just in case anybody got confused by the positioning there. So things are not crazy at the moment for Astralis. Gomez, though, ready to fend off the first challenge against his position, is going to be able to get a successful impact off that'll stop the Selma charge from knocking out his cover.
Oh, that's so rough. I don't know how Astralis tries to push past this unless they're able to get a frag onto an XSET member. All of DP fire stuff down, and this is what they needed. They needed somebody to push in from the back end like Iconic. Spares will be able to trade it out, but he's more than likely dead soon. And yes, indeed, J9O picking up the pieces from inside of Boar. Now it's the rest of XSET downstairs to try and help with the site setup. DP fire's taken a lot of damage, but the rest of Astralis looking pretty all right when it comes to the health department. Obviously a little injured, but can still win gunfights. That's the big piece here. DP fire has to play so very safe given the circumstances.
Bigger problem at the moment is going to be the lack of a Finkus. Those players are staying at that HP for the rest of the round, when normally they'd be able to bolster themselves up a little bit. Not going to be happening. Astralis is locked into their current HP. Meanwhile, well, yes, they're ahead by one player. XSET's remaining 3 hasn't taken any damage. And look at the aggression now. Kino and Yaga both sneaking up the red stairs. They steal a kill as Shuttle goes down to even out the numbers and just as quickly disappear into the night to get themselves back down into the site, back on the first floor.
Fantastic calling from XSET. Immediately when you pick up that kill, stop. You don't need to do any more. You do not need to continue to contest, especially since you have 2 bodies upstairs and 1 single member on site trying to hold back the rest of Astralis. You don't want it to be mistimed where they get the execute, and now you're retaking the site. Instead, you want to make them fight for it. J9O, he has the LMG. He's feeding it everywhere, but Kino and DS for 2 will take down Astralis for round 5. Astralis not allowed a single round past the only one they've picked up thus far. XSET utter dominance thus far on this defensive end.
Astralis unfortunately outplaying themselves a little bit there, spending too much time trying to build up the confidence in the intel bank that would have been necessary to flood the site there. That left the room open, unfortunately, because they had an unwatched flank coming from red stairs as well for 2 members of XSET to make a play, to go up there, even out the numbers themselves. And like you said, before things got too crazy, back it up. And still, they had time to do all of this because of the hesitation from Astralis. Back up into the site, just kind of get themselves ready for the 3v3 execute and shut it down because they had a health advantage.
Exactly. You go any farther than that, Bodega's going to be on you immediately. Like, there's no point in trying to go for any extra kills past that equalizer and then forcing them to take the site. That was fantastic from XSET. There's no other way to try and look at it there. So now for Astralis, you really got to be feeling for them. They haven't been able to get really anything rolling inside of these opening minutes. That has been something that could be, bountiful to them. So we'll see if they can try and get a positive boon here for round 6 and at least get that 2-4 scoreline.
Quite a few repicks going to be showing up for Astralis here. The top 3, in fact, will be changing their operators. At least one of them is sticking with the one that they originally picked up, being DP Fire. Didn't get to glance the other 2 before we lost the UI, though. So Shuttle, as well as Forrest, will be shifting over to a Thatcher, as well as an Ace combo here, just to bring a little bit of extra hard breach, since obviously we are finally going to be seeing that trophy statuary defense from XSET they had been avoiding up until this point.
And they're going for the full map hold as well, as XSET has extended themselves towards the south. Now, this does not mean that they're going to be holding on to this for an extended period of time. In fact, it'll probably be an initial glancing across towards Astralis if they try and enter from this side of the building, and then falling back. Now, Astralis can get in the way of this, so they can try and cut things off around 90, but that might not even be the strategy in the first place. They might just try and go directly towards site and try and contest out some of these XSET members. Now, that might be ill-advised, especially with Gomez at the front of this defensive setup. EBR can take you down so very quickly if he's accurate enough. So, speaking of which, Astralis want to make sure that they don't get punished in a situation like that. So they'll continue to drone things out and see if they can find any of the crooks and crannies that these XSET members are hiding in.
Spirits just quickly regrouping with Gomez here to establish a bit of a crossfire in the event. We see Astralis trying to put pressure in from the walk-in bathroom. Not going to see a commitment to that just yet, though, and they still have plenty of time to build up towards, so there's not a huge concern here. Nice play from Iconic, though, going to be working on establishing a bit of a flank against this current crunch that's been set up by XSET, and XSET doesn't seem to be paying too much attention to that. So good opportunity here for Iconic, especially once the drone works its way around, to be able to find out Yaga's position and isolate him out. Problem's going to be, though, if that drone gets spotted by Yaga, which it might have just been. Starting to watch his flank over by Death's Door here, as well as a few other spots. It seems to be a bit more hyper-aware of the possibility of being pinched out over at the 90 angle.
Oh, this is really bad for Astralis right now. It's almost at the point of feast or famine with the timer. You always have to be worried when it comes down to it, and at least off rip, it's looking like feast. Iconic takes down 2, and he makes good on the info game. Soma out, but the frag grenade should more than likely eat that up. A little worried about that. Kino, they know that you're there as he's going to move forward off the laser gate. They'll burn that out, gets rid of one of the drones, and backs off into sight. Oh, this is going to be so very close. As XSET, they have just enough members to be able to maintain control of a lot of the entry points towards the site. It's going to be up to Astralis to try and overwhelm this setup.
You can see, though, that Astralis has done a good job of forcing some of the members of XSET out of their power positions where they like to play like this right now from Kino. He can't get the winning shotgun shot, and he's losing teammates left and right. Tries to make a play, but it's far too late. DP fires a virtual mile away from him by the time he finally jumps out the window. That left only one player to sit back and defend the site, and obviously the 1v5 not going to stand much of a chance there. Finally, a consistent second round put up on the board here by the Astralis roster, making the half a bit more palatable now, 2-4.
Well, last time, Astralis not having info inside of the 90 hallway. This time around, so much even presence there with some bodies, especially Finka, as Iconic is able to pick up 2 there. And that's exactly what Astralis needed to be able to get another round on the board. A flawless one, in fact, before we end the half. And now Astralis only down 2 rounds instead of what could have been 4. So very well done from them to be able to at least fight back in a certain way. As now, obviously, they'll be on the defensive end and they'll defend ABG for the very first time.
Time to see if Astralis can bring a little bit more prowess to the table to bring this scoreline back under their own control. Only 2 rounds away now, in fact, so certainly doable. But X at the same time has looked so strong. We'll have to see if that same strength transfers over to the attacking side here. Gonna be bringing a fairly similar lineup to some of the stuff we were seeing from Astralis, but a few changes. Obviously, the Finka coming back in for Spirits, where we're seeing Astralis be a little bit more give or take with that. And on top of that, Diaz as well, we're gonna be going for a Twitch pick, something we did not see Astralis utilize from my memory in the previous half.
Really loving the Twitch pick as of late. You know, the more and more we see it, the more and more you can see how it benefits the offense so very much, especially when it comes to the amount of drones that Twitch gets. She gets 3, whereas everybody else gets 2. So she's got both Twitch drones and a prep-based drone. So she's got 2 of the shock drones and a regular drone that she can use around the map. And that little piece of extra intel can be extremely useful. Not only that, but obviously with Twitch, you can get rid of so many different pieces of utility, like, you know, default cams, alibis, anything of the sort when it comes to electronics. And it just makes it to where she's extremely useful. You still have the smokes as a secondary and that big bad AR as her primary weapon. And I mean, even past that gun, you still have the 417 to back it up. So lots of different reasons to be bringing Twitch in the current meta, and XSET obviously aligning with those ideals, and we'll see if Diaz can achieve anything with that. It's been a pretty slow opener thus far. Astralis trying to show some face early on, though, over towards the master side.
Iconic gonna go for a little bit of a snipe knife here to try to block out the window. Pretty sure it worked, and should be able to block access for a few more moments. Just a few hits from the attackers, though, and they'll also be breaking their way past that pretty quickly. Things are held up, though, for XSET, at least after the first minute of play has finally transpired here. They're still trying to figure out where the best point of insertion is going to be to make their first strike, and unfortunately, not going to be able to find the execution all that easy when they're ready to move in. Iconic, though, with an opportunity to frag his second time. He doesn't even realize how deep into enemy territory he is, as he's eventually still going to be beaten out here by Kino, but at the same time, J90 is able to ignite himself. He finds success in the master push and is able to take down not just 1, but 2 members of the squad. Shuttle as well to knock out Spirits on the back end of the trophy defense. Just leaves Diaz alive here, and he's pretty much on the other side of the planet at this point.
You taste that? It's a little nasty. That's what I'm saying.
That was not the sight hole, by the way. That was the extension that they shut them down in. So beautifully played by Astralis to start out the half.
That's a triple by J90 there, by the way. Disgusting. disgusting scene inside of Master. Not what Astralis, or rather XSET, expected at all once they hopped in there. Kino with some very nice kills, but as he doubles back, he gets taken down. Astralis starting to build things up on their defensive side now. So it'll be 4-3, and obviously, given the circumstances, we really could see this go to overtime. We want to see XSET try and build up something on the offense at the current moment, because that last round was, I mean, for all intents and purposes, just completely wrong. It's not how you want anything to go just from the jump. Losing body after body, really no way to refrag, no utility to be put down even towards the site, and I mean, past that, all of that went down off-site. So, I mean, just so many wrongs for XSET to really look into and try and fix for round 8.
Kind of a false start there ultimately for XSET. Never really gave themselves a chance to get back into it due to the issues they ran into the second they tried to take master control. So we'll see if a little bit of a reset will work out. Gomez, don't you dare.
Gomez, you locked that in.
Thank you.
Gomez,
Thank you.
back.
Thank you, Gomez.
Come on, please.
I wasn't expecting such an immediate response, but...
Yeah, I mean, you and Gomez homies or something? You guys...
I don't know. That or we gotta check the soundproofing on the headphones.
Exactly.
It's a joke.
They're going to be handing the Twitch baton over to Gomez this time around. DS instead will be on the Zofia. Yaga will still have the line. In fact, I actually think this is our first time here, but I might be wrong about that. Either way, we didn't get to see him use any of them the last time, even if he did have it, and that's exactly why we don't know about it. So, as he was the one to die inside of Master initially. So we'll see if those E1Ds can get anything done up against Astralis. They do have a certain way to get around them, obviously, with the mute jammers, but usually we'll see those set up to block doors as well as panels so that XSET can't try and collapse onto the site, at least initially, until they're able to clear out the utility.
We're going to be seeing at least Spirits insert himself into the site in the meanwhile here. This is dangerous.
Nobody's home.
Dude, Spirits doesn't even fully understand the situation. Kino's already droned this out, so he knows there's no one here. All right, this could change things up, though. Forrest's going to start working his way in, but he's shot at a drone, so they're going to know he's on the flank. He's giving himself away as a result of that plant going down. Gomez just casually runs down Pantry and snipes out Forrest, so goodbye to that potential comeback. Where the heck is Astralis?
I'm just doing breathing exercises, John. I can't handle this mentally at the current moment. They're not home. They're on vacation. They're somewhere.
Okay.
Iconic's got a beautiful shot and a re-entry. It's a 4 versus 3, and I'm not trying to say it's impossible, but it's definitely going to take some heavy lifting from Astralis. Just look at this timer. 22 seconds remain, and this will be an amazing retake if they can pull it off. Gomez going to be able to get 2 quick kills of the F2, making it even more difficult for DP Fire to accomplish anything. J90 will take down 1, and that's going to be the Twitch. Stuns in, and they'll try and block things up, but the verticality works out beautifully for these players, and there's going to be no time left for Astralis to try and take out anybody. Do you have any words, Blue?
No, just a pretty big strategical gaffe there from Astralis, not leaving anyone on the site ultimately. I mean, you don't even leave like someone in that connecting room to go to Astro Stairs. Like, you don't even go that far with it. Like,
nobody.
Like, I'd understand if there was someone in the site and they backed up because it was a 1vx, but like there was just no one there. They're gonna drone that. They're gonna check that.
Yeah, it's a pretty feels bad. There's no real other way to put it. You know, these are those difficult situations as a commentator because you really just want to say, what are they doing? But also, that's just like really
That's
mean.
really unprofessional.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So it's just like, for lack of a better term, Astralis really needs to just play somebody on the actual defensive site.
Yep.
I think that would be a grand old idea.
So kind of an obvious point from the casting desk here, but you guys at home are probably thinking the same thing right now. So.
I'm sure you were all in the same boat as us.
How dare you blame us?
Why? How is Astralis completely out of sight and we are not even halfway through the round?
I'm just more curious as to what Astralis was attempting to do with being that far spread out. Like, were they trying to do some crazy run out or like ankle hold or something?
I think what happened was they were supposed to get 2 separate Ubers, and so they'd show up at different times, and somebody ordered an XL, so they just all left, and they're like, oh well. I think
it was more they were meant to order an XL and they accidentally got an X. Like, they just clicked the wrong button on their phone. Either way, getting back into round 9 now. XSET is just 2 rounds away from locking in the W for today, and the 3 points that would come along with that. Mind you, as you can see, they are already at the top echelon of a lot of our squads here at number 2 in the league, and this is still with that PB game being considered as well. So considering that, XSET is already in a fantastic position, and locking another 3 points would only push them that much closer to a potential spot at Berlin.
Spirit's already lighting up DP fire. What a nitro from Shuttle. Always difficult to try and fend off when you are inside of Bicycle, and that's going to end up giving Spirits over. Gomez clears some things out, but he's been taken down by DP fire, apparently not aware that there was a player inside of Dining. Now Shuttle will take down Kino, and Astralis are quickly bouncing back inside of round 9. Now this is quite the teeter-totter, but not in the way that we usually see where they're grueling rounds. It's just one team snowballing the other, and then we reset. XSET down to 2 members. Yaga, not exactly in the healthiest of straits at the current moment, as he is just around 75% HP. We'll be able to get up towards the master balcony, but he's really waiting on DS to not only get the case, but try and assist him with this top floor.
Yeah, it's going to be working his way forward. XSET maybe get just a little bit too confident after the play we've seen after this last round here. You can see them kind of haphazardly inserting themselves into the bottom floor at the beginning of this round, only to meet quite a few members of Astralis, maybe a little bit more than they expected to run into. Either way, they're going to try and bring this back at what's now a 2v4, but as you can see, this is quite difficult. Literally every single time one of these players peaks, there's a chance of either one of them going down, and they need to try and keep both of them alive to have any realistic chance of winning this out. Forrest with the commitment, but it won't work out. He'll return some more damage onto Yaga, but he too will take quite a bit. Forrest, though, will complete the set as he goes back to finish off Yaga, but of course DS will get the down in trade. Problem is, though, DS doesn't have a great position to work for him right now. He still has to be careful about every step he takes, because he could be walking right into a trade setup if he's not careful, such as right around this corner here. You can see the Jaeger ready for the challenge, gets the first kill, but there is indeed going to be a trade setup there that J9O will pull the trigger on and shut down any potential clutch to come in from XSET.
Astralis resetting the control there and walking back into Master is what makes that so difficult for the Twitch to try and win out. So many different ways that initially they could go, but shut down very quickly, especially on that split side. So now Astralis 1 round away from tying things up yet again, but as we were just talking about, this game has went back and forth over and over. So really what we're looking at is, does XSET actually get map and match point here? Can they push themselves to 6 and start applying so much stress to Astralis' mental when it comes to that faithful point, as it does just sit at the top of your screen, doesn't it, Blue? Match point constantly staring you in the eyes throughout the round. So XSET, hopefully for their sake, looking to secure that, as they're only going to be shifting Gomez over to the Nook.
See if XSET can quickly rebound here. Probably going to have to slow things down a bit. Like I said, in the middle of that round, a bit of a 2-forward, at least initial play from XSET there to try and take control downstairs inside of the kitchen area of the map there. Ended up losing a couple players because of that, so more than likely going to cool that off just out of precaution. Got to be careful, of course, make sure they don't kind of play themselves in that respect and take things too slowly, because then they're going to run into a lot of the same issues that Astralis had towards the end of their first half of play, where they were kind of setting themselves up either above or near the site, but then never really had the confidence to work their way in a few occasions, either due to a numbers disadvantage or a few other scenarios here. So let's see if XSET can avoid those same pitfalls and indeed lock in that penultimate round.
Yes, indeed. Astralis is going to be on AVG. They have Forrest on the Oryx, so we'll be looking for some hatch play around that. More than likely, we'll come into contact with Gomez as a later date. Shuttle will be bringing the Mira, and that's mostly what I'll be paying attention to when it comes to the site execute for XSET, as they'll be looking to try and avoid the Nitro Cell from Shuttle around the actual vault door. Forrest has made his way downstairs into Library. Him and Gomez on practically the exact counter-opposite trails here. As Forrest inside of Library, they more than likely have no idea that they're within 10 feet of each other. They work their ways respectively to the opposite ends of the map. A drone will be able to discover Forrest, and obviously this door is barricaded, so we won't be able to try and work his way through there. But now Gomez is on the back end. I don't think there's any camera either, but Forrest seemingly aware that there is potential for a player to be around him. He's going to run away, and that's not going to prompt Gomez to move forward at all, so Forrest will be able to stay alive, at least for the time being.
One of the players holding on the first floor, either on the attacking or defensive side, kind of stalwart right now, not looking to move too heavily. Beautiful nade setup from Gomez right there. Shuttle, unfortunately for him, kind of walks right into it, or backs up directly into it here. Shifts the pressure over towards DP Fire, as he's potentially going to have to contend with a clear from XSET relatively soon. You can see those silhouettes, 3 of them in fact, surrounding him. Probably only going to see 2 to 3 of them push against him. However, as you can see, quite a few of those are going to be worried about play upstairs as well on the rappels. Away from this, we're going to see him get challenged, but he'll be ready for said challenge. Taking down Gomez in the process, going to get caught mid-reload, but a teammate's here.
Oh!
Iconic! An absolute warrior! Shutting down 2 of his opponents while saving his own teammate here. The odds have suddenly flipped, and it's now XSET on the back foot with a minute left to play.
Iconic is the name and Siege is his game. 11-7-3 for David as Astralis is shutting down XSET. It's left up to Kino to try and find his way through this thick of it, but doesn't seem like he's going to be getting too far as he's stuck outside on the study balcony. He does have case control, but every trained eye from Astralis on his location at the current moment. Case here won't be able to push himself forward just yet as he's practically awaiting the Grim Reaper whenever he walks in. Has a crossfire 2 on his door as well, and that's going to be all she wrote. But you have so many bullets to play with that as long as you're still holding left click, you can just transfer to another angle, and right when that person peeks to try and go for the refrag, you more than likely have another kill depending on how accurate you are. So for Astralis, or rather not in that situation, but in the future for the offensive side, things will obviously play out in a very similar capacity. But for Iconic's situation there with the SMG, obviously just some incredible play out of him. And past that moment, Astralis obviously tying things up as we move forward here. They'll move downstairs into dining and kitchen. And speaking of Iconic, he's going to be back onto one of his most iconic roles. And it's got to be the we'll throw it back in now for round 11. And hopefully, fingers crossed, nothing happens at the start of this action phase.
All right, so taking a peek at what exactly we're going to be seeing. Quick reminder, folks, it was Astralis that has run the previous 2 rounds back-to-back in their own favor, with the most recent one being pretty much flawless in their favor. XSET, though, did find themselves a near-flawless round as they literally walked in to the kitchen site. It was this very same site, in fact, so members of Astralis probably a little bit concerned, but as well, I am assuming that they're going to patch that gaping hole in their defense and that they'll actually keep someone in the site this time, so going to be able to fare much better against any potential XSET pushes.
No way, we double down. They'll never expect it twice. We play mute Mozzie, we mute up the whole site, and we just don't play it. We leave it completely alone, force XSET to try and clear everything out. But obviously, that's not going to work because I'm not the coach of Astralis. That's why they have call out, because he's much better at coaching than I ever have been. So Astralis obviously trying to build his kitchen defense up to take it away from XSET as they've dialed in for the top floor and are looking to clear things through Master at the current moment. But there's a lone soul off XSET currently missing as of right now. Where is Spirits?
Find out in a moment here as XSET still working on getting access to their first angles they want to establish for themselves here. Are going to be able to work themselves into Master relatively soon. Spirits indeed. We'll just be taking up a position over, I believe, at the trophy connector window to try to potentially hop in from there. Adds a little bit more worry for some of our defenders here too, especially for players like J9O across the way. Not going to be able to be as free with their positioning anymore once that cross is established.
Yes, indeed. And now XSET hightail it into the building. Initial damage to Gomez, but he'll be able to fix this up quite quickly as he's got the flex seal on him. He'll just apply the adrenal surge and no more holes inside of his body. Practically full HP at the current moment. Drone intel already looking solid. XSET has lost 5 drones, but they got a kill for it. It's going to be an immediate refrag onto Gomez, and that's going to be the Finka down off of that frag. Now Astralis with the potential to make quite the stand here. XSET not able to bull over this top floor like they have before.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Everything's gone fairly quiet here as both teams reach a bit of an impasse. Neither one wants to be the team to make the next move, but quite obviously it needs to be XSET sooner rather than later. They're just going to take the extra time they have while things are a little bit more quiet, establish top downs, and kind of get Kino ready for his drop. He's made it, has to be a little careful there as you can see. There's a hole on the bottom of the wall here, but he'll be able to dodge past that. Throw one of his Selmas down on the remaining soft wall, a bit further out too, to open up his actual plant path forward and begin the process of setting up for the execute here. As you can see, the members of Astralis waiting patiently on the outskirts of both the upstairs and downstairs holds. They're now being set up by XSET here, so a lot needs to be worked past here. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of time to do so, given that we are now approaching the 30-second mark.
Yeah, it's really worrisome for both of these teams. Round 11, it hangs in the balance. Shuttle sitting outside of China. Has potential for 2 if the other player does come in from Mud. Kino will take down Shuttle, though I don't know how much that opens up the site, especially with J9O still upstairs. Diaz is awaiting his arrival, and that's a free kill for him. The plant's starting to go down for Kino. Force will be able to take down 1, but they're going to hop off the plant. It's all down to Iconic now, up against Kino and Diaz. He's got full HP, so he has the ability to win this out. And that's going to be it. An overswing from Diaz, and Iconic takes him down. I'm going to be honest with with you, and that's exactly why Iconic's talking mess right now. That might not be a man that you want to take a gunfight with. Astralis get the round over on XSET with a misplay in the 2 versus 1.
Worst part is they realistically could have had that case down and potentially pushed that into a 2 versus 1 for the gunfight as well. They interrupted the plant after the initial push from Iconic right there, got off of it due to a safety call of hoping that he might still continue to push that fight forward. Did not happen, so they were forced into a 0-timer plant, and as a result of that, Iconic got his 1v1 that he was able to use to shut down the round.
Just an absolute menace to society when it comes to these rounds. Iconic, just the saving grace of Astralis. Constantly, time and time again. Somebody needs help, Iconic's there. You need somebody to clutch around, Iconic's there. Astralis has that highlight player on their team, and his name's at the very top of the board. And the craziest thing about that is that Astralis still has so many talented players across the entire team. I mean, we saw just what Force could produce last stage. We saw so many of these players making amazing plays when it came to the Charlotte Major. It just so happens that right now, Iconic is playing on a different level, and in fact, he could secure this whole game for them.
We're going to see if he can do it. One more round of heroics is all we really need to see from Iconic or anyone else on Astralis to step up to the plate and lock in that very much needed 3 additional points. Like we said before, that's going to surge Astralis up to at least 4th place, potentially 3rd if they end up beating out PB in a tiebreaker scenario.
Real question.
A lot to be gained here.
Real question. What happens to XSET if they lose this game? Because currently they're sitting at 2nd, and these points are just going to continue to get tighter and tighter over these next 2 days.
They should still be pretty safe to stay around like the top 4 or top 5 because they still already have, I think, 12 points for themselves. Yeah, they have 12 points, so they're not. It's not end of the world yet, but it certainly hurts their odds of going to the major. I won't sugarcoat it.
Oh my God!
Yaga is going to coat J9O with some fragmentation to take him out and lock in the first kill of the round for XSET.
Oh, well, Iconic. There was a time to do it. It would be now. The bat signal is up, my friend. DP Fire low on HP, and J9O dead to rights. Now Iconic and the rest of Astralis have to try and pick up these pieces. Obviously, the site all the way over in Trophy Statue. Forest will be able to take down Spirits and at least find the equalizer here, as Astralis is playing out on multiple levels, not even on the base floor, but also upstairs inside of 90. XSET's been able to back them off of AVG, but just remember, this isn't the actual site, and they'll just start pushing themselves forward on this end of the map about halfway through the round.
To be chucked out everywhere for Gomez there as he tries to funnel players out of their current safe positions. Not going to be able to do so easily, however, as everyone else from Astralis still sitting over here by ABG is long gone. They have fallen back into the actual site hold, closer to Trophy and Statuary to await the final play from XSET, which is going to be at an even 4 versus 4 here. You can see drones continuing to buzz about on the interior of the site. Gomez has been challenging for some of the utility, but it's truly just for that. In fact, he's going to exit the building afterwards. They're going to change up positions, try to make this play over here towards Master, but that'll be a little dangerous because look who is waiting just under the window. Iconic, ready to make a play. The second you hear these breaches open, he's already found one player on drone as well. He's panicking. He's not able to make the shot happen, but there we go. Course correct, and knocks out Gomez.
And that's the thing about Iconic. He always finds that gap. He knows XSET has to rotate for Master eventually, and he plays under the windows. And past that, XSET still have info game. So many opportunities to drone here, but they're not using them. They're going for the play instead onto side. It'll be the smoke out for the Twitch as DS tries to find something, and he will take down Shuttle, and Yaga will be able to equalize here into the 2 versus 2. DP Fire on low HP and Iconic practically full. Astralis has to make a stand now with these last 20 seconds.
Time getting low here for XSET, but they need to force the issue forward here. Diaz and Yaga playing so carefully, trying to pinch this together here. Case currently down on the ground as well. Yaga executes Iconic, though, takes him out, but DP Fire with the flank and Case control. Just needs to survive here for 7 more seconds, but Diaz making a run for the Case. Obviously, DP Fire going to hear this, but no, it's too far. He's going to go all the way outside the window. There's no time left. So Astralis taken at the bitter end of regulation. They complete the comeback and lock in the 7-5 victory, which is going to boost them up to at least 4th place in the standings.
Do not call it a comeback, ladies and gentlemen. Astralis has been here